What's up, Astro fam? Here to do Mercury in Aquarius, cause why not go out of order? So as I'm gonna do for the series, I'm gonna break down Mercury into communication, thought process, and knowledge that you have access to based on the sign. Of course, the house plays into it too, but that would be too specific for these kinds of videos. So. Mercury in Aquarius. Mercury likes to be in air signs, though they're a bit complicated for me to channel thoroughly because there are just so many levels. But as far as communication, Mercury in Aquarius is someone that likes to talk about really big topics, really kind of hot button issues and popular opinions. They like to discuss politics and really challenging topics, really controversial topics like, animal rights and human rights and just kind of what's going on in a societal scale and how we are approaching the environment and economics and stuff like this. They are very humanitarian in the way that they communicate. They want to talk about social justice issues. They're very outspoken about what they believe to be good for our society, and they want to have these kinds of discussions because they think it's important to kind of flesh out all of that information and get it out socially. Mercury in Aquarius is one that they speak for society when they speak. When they are communicating with you, they're not only taking into account all of their own personal beliefs and opinions, but that of many people and whatever culture they might also represent within themselves. They want to acknowledge that before they go ahead and say something. They communicate in a way that is very intellectual and complicated, and they don't really like to have very superficial conversations, such as Mercury and Gemini, who might have a lot of fun just kind of, shooting the shit and talking about whatever. Mercury in Aquarius can seem a little bit entitled and condescending sometimes because of the level of seriousness that they like their conversations to have. There's always this kind of emotional depth and intensity behind it because they are the water bearer. So they will communicate with you with a very high emotional intensity while being completely detached and logical about it, which can be very confusing and frustrating to a lot of people. Mercury in Aquarius is not the easiest person to have a conversation with. In certain regards, if you're not a good energetic match for them, you're going to feel like you're being completely bulldozed in the conversation and that you don't really have a choice to speak. But they also communicate in a way that they're trying to teach you things, and that can come across as a little bit condescending too. They just really want to share this information. They want to share this knowledge. They want to have highly intellectual conversations with people. So a good thing for you if you have Mercury in Aquarius is to realize that not everyone's going to want to talk about that all the time because it just kind of blows out their mind and it's not stimulating or interesting. But if you use technology and social media to kind of get a lot of that energy out and maybe write these long paragraphs and opinions and things and get them out, because Mercury in Aquarius is someone that really uses technology to communicate. They might even prefer to communicate over the phone or through text or through social media than doing it face to face, because they can kind of say what they need to say and be very opinionated without necessarily being challenged on it. And sometimes they really like to dominate that space and just get everything out that they need to say without having to worry about it back and forth. They're not always the best listeners in that sense, so it might be a good idea to practice something like that. Or be in a teaching role, do some volunteer work, offer to give advice to people when they ask for it, and not always just kind of blurt out all of this information and really heavy, dense knowledge that you want to lay on people, because it's not going to be received anyway in the way that you want it. So you need to have an appropriate audience, and your friends might not always be that appropriate audience. I really do have a lot more to say about this, but I want to get through all of the topics. they are very complex communicators, and it's going to be very, very brain based. And so you're gonna want to have more self-reflection on how your communication style is affecting other people, and that will make you much more effective as a communicator. As far as thought processes go, Mercury in Aquarius is someone that's constantly thinking about other people, so they come off as kind of selfish because of the way that they're trying to speak and approach situations, but in reality they're it's not necessarily that they're worried or concerned, but it's very much on their mind, the state of humanity. And because we're struggling so much, a lot of anxiety comes in there. So a lot of air signs, air Mercuries do tend to have a lot of mental anxiety and energy going through there, less so Libra, but they need to, I don't want to say communicate a million times, but you need to like speak, because your thought process is so all encompassing and it's very big picture, and you're taking into consideration all of these incredibly multifaceted elements of the human experience, and you're just pondering about them for a very, very long time and getting into the depths about them and how everything interlocks and how everything works on an interpersonal level and a societal level and a global level and a cultural level and a governmental level. And these are all very fascinating aspects of reality to you, to kind of take apart the social structure of how we exist and how it's a fundamental part of who we are. But it again is very heavy and dense, and you're going to want to find people who understand that thought process, or maybe even have a very different thought process from you. Something that's difficult for Mercury and Aquarius is to be open-minded. That doesn't that sounds kind of negative, but the fact of it is that Aquarius is a fixed air sign, which means that the way that they think and the way that they perceive the world is very established and it's very personal for them. And they don't necessarily like to let differing opinions into their mind space and their mind frame, because they feel that it would compromise their integrity and their authority and their intelligence. My suggestion is to just breathe and realize that expansion is going to happen from being challenged and from having differentiated opinions. And you can allow them into your mental framework without it compromising anything. You can just move a few little pieces out. You're smart enough. You can figure out how to keep stability while allowing new and innovative ideas to kind of generate themselves in your brain. For a lot of people, this can be challenging. It will be easier over time, but you can be really stubborn about conceding your opinion. And if you find yourself in a really, really heated debate with someone, if it's positive and healthy, keep going. And if it's not, you're going to have to learn to cool it and not really anger people, because you can get lost in words and all of this verbal thought. You know, Aquarius is incredibly centered in the brain and that part of the human experience and our social cognitive abilities. But that's not all there is to our existence. And so if you bring all of your focus up here, you're going to miss a lot of other things. And so being in your body and being in your emotions is very, very important, because the way that your thoughts work, it's almost so overwhelming, and it's almost like you are too intellectual at times. It's just very focused upwards, and you're constantly ruminating over these really huge issues, which is very, very important. This is the age of Aquarius, and we need to be thinking about these things. But at the same time, it's going to take all other 18 elements and all other signs to really flesh out our evolution as a species. So you need to start thinking about other people as teachers and not just you as being one, and be more open-minded to the fact that other people have a lot of wisdom and a lot of knowledge to share with you. And it will make you even more intelligent and just really blow your mind open so that you can fit all of that stuff and information in your head, because there's a lot going on for you. I realize that. Breathe. I'm getting very worked up even just channeling it, but it's very sharp and very clear, and very important right now. So the kind of access and the knowledge that you have access to, I kind of already brought it up, but it's kind of like a social intelligence, and it's you really understand how to coexist with other people. You have a lot of knowledge in terms of like acceptance and being able to view other people and respect them and respect your elders and keep certain customs in place that you know are keeping our society functioning in a really healthy way. And you can also pinpoint the ways that we're functioning that are not helping, like putting people down and racism and classist issues and the way that our educational system is working. You have all of these revolutionary concepts and ideas that you have access to, and you know how to implement them socially, you know how to speak up, you know how to rally people, you know how to convince other people of your opinions and get them on your side. You really know how to network and gather large groups of people together that have similar opinions. You know how to gather resources and channel them into a project and go out there and do something with it. You have a lot of potential and a lot of power and a lot of knowledge, and it's very practical, it's very important, and it's very necessary right now. So channeling this down through all of you in a constructive way and in a concise way and a practical way where you can stay grounded and centered and also be true to your heart and how you're feeling is incredibly crucial for you. This is not necessarily an easy sign to have. Aquarius Mercury, you're going to have a lot of responsibility that you're probably going to feel very early on just from reflecting on the state of the world, and you're going to want to step up and get into action and be a part of it and be a big part of society and be a big influence on people. And trust me, you can do that, whether it's through volunteer, charity, the career that you do, just being vocal on social media. You are absolutely changing the dialogue and the fabric of our entire existence. And I really want to thank you for that and appreciate you for that. Mercury in Aquarius is someone who's very generous in the terms of what they want to do with the kind of intelligence that they have and the mental capacity. They want to give to people, they want to teach people, they want to share their knowledge with everyone and make a better world. So there's a lot going on here, and there's a lot more depth that I really didn't even touch into, but I wanted to just give a general channeling of this sign for you guys just so you could get a little bit better of a picture for it. I might start going back in order, I might not. I'm a Mercury in Cancer for anyone that's interested. And I've been getting people hitting me up for birth charts lately, and it's been making me really, really happy. And I'm starting to feel like I'm aligning more with my path. And for all of you out there in the Northern Hemisphere, it has been so dark and so gloomy and so cold. And I understand that the world's restructuring and Jupiter's in Scorpio and all of that. But I am really praying and hoping that the light at the end of the tunnel is here as I'm speaking, or it is soon. So for all of you that have been having a really rough 2018, hang in there. I believe in you. You're beautiful, you're great, and thank you for watching.